Welcome everyone to Work, Leisure, and Media, this week's forum and chapter. A couple of the points that were highlighted in the lecture and PowerPoint that Dr. Russ put out for us, and hope you all watched them ahead of time, but the main focus was between neuroplasticity and the brain's ability to change or flex over time. The other focus in the lecture was about building on the brain, and Dr. Russ used her example of the Badlands metaphor with water. The main thing here is looking at how a person focuses on what they're doing, whether they're distracted by several different things or if this is something that they are spending all of their attention on, they're focusing on it. The ability to learn something or do something is way better if you are completely focused on it rather than distracted by several different things from the outside. The book focused a lot on work and media mostly. The two big things were those two. But as far as work goes, it recommends that students not work more than 20 hours a week, which I did not fall into that category whatsoever. But I did take advantage of something that my school offered that was along the lines of an apprenticeship. I worked at a canvas shop. I left school early and was able to go and work until 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. But I did not spend much time outside of school or work doing my schoolwork, which this caused my grades obviously to falter just a little bit. The other thing the book focuses on is media exposure and the different effects it has versus cause and effect. It looks at 3 different theories, which I just had here a second ago. Where'd they go? About why students view what they view, or if what students view makes them who they are more so. And the cause and effect kind of falls between both of them. The one theory focused strictly on students watch this and that's what makes students what they are. The other theory looked at students are this way, so they watch these types of things. And the other one looked at like the friends. You choose your friends, but you are who you are based off of what's acceptable from you and your friends. So those 3 theories I encourage you to look at. After that, I found some additional information on a website, which was from right here. It's called Portraits of Multitasking Mind. It's from Scientific American Journal. I'm gonna post the link to it so you all can read it. And it focused a lot on the different things, and it also touched on one of the things that was hit in one of the videos we watched about top down versus bottom up and focusing. So I encourage all of you guys to go and read that article and compare it with the videos we watched. Hopefully you guys got through all the videos. I know there was a lot of them. But the main one we watched with the TED Talks, one of the big things that he looked at was the prefrontal cortex and how it's involved in splitting decisions and what you're actually doing. They looked at this bottleneck effect where your prefrontal cortex has to decide if you're going to do this or if you're going to do that, which takes that task switching and makes it go back and forth where you don't actually multitask. Multitasking, he said, is a myth. It's not something that you actually do unless it's a thing like chewing gum and walking. It's something you don't have to think about, you don't have to make a decision about. So there is no multitasking according to that video. He did post the question of coffee shops and why people do it. For me, I can't. There's no possible way I could go and learn or gather anything whatsoever. It's kind of funny because I got to sit at the kitchen table with the wife gone, the dog's outside. I can't have any outside distractions, as you saw me look at the car drive by just a couple seconds ago here. I can't have those outside distractions from my learning. I have to have complete focus on what I'm doing in order for me to be able to obtain the information at hand. It's the same for reading books. It's the same for doing any of these activities we did. So as far as the coffee shops go, people people go to them. My theory, or based off of what he said, is that dopamine effect. When you go there, you get a sense of a high of everything going on around you. You take it all in, and though you don't comprehend all of it, you don't process all of it. It's all going on around you. So as far as work getting done there, I don't understand how people can get their work done there with all the distractions that are taking place. Now, when it came to doing the activities, there were several, and I tried to do all of them. The one I was not able to do, I could not get it to open, and it was the second to last one. I couldn't get it to open, so I don't even know what the activity was for the two options. The first one was with the rectangles, where it would flash a rectangle or a scene of rectangles really fast, and then you had to pay attention to the two red ones, and then it'd flash it again, and you'd have to decide whether those red ones moved or rotated at all. And I actually did fairly well with it. I got they gave you a score and stuff. Mine was 92%, and it was pretty interesting to watch. Just that. The next one was based off of the letters and the numbers, and I had a very, very difficult time with that one. I was very slow to respond to whether it was consonant or vowel or odd or even number, and half the time I didn't even see the whether it flashed letter or number as to which one you were supposed to choose. So as far as focusing on that, I was still trying to comprehend the previous question before the next one came up. So I was having a hard time with that one, and my response time for it was a lot longer. This one it gave you a chart, but it didn't give you actual numbers for a time, which I thought was kind of interesting. The next one was this. Hopefully you guys all did it. You wrote or drew the lines. You wrote switch tasking is a thief, and wrote the numbers under it, and wrote down how long it took you. For me, it took 18 seconds. I thought it went pretty quick. I was still trying to understand what was going on with why it took so long. He didn't really explain the very end of it at first, so I'm sitting here waiting for a few seconds because it only took me maybe half the amount of time. So then we switched and we went back and forth with writing, letter then number, and I struggled with it, but not as much as I thought I would. My biggest struggle was actually the background noise. I had a hard time focusing on the switch tasking as a thief 1 through 21 because he was in the background talking. I heard the clock ticking. I heard him saying this many seconds has passed, and I kept thinking about those things rather than what I was actually writing. Also, he said some people have a tendency to end on a wrong number or a different number than the 21, and that was me. I was a number off, but I did also switch where I was writing number first then letter instead of going back and forth. So I struggled with that one as well, but only towards the end there with the background noise. The next option I could not get to open, which was what I said earlier, so I have no idea what that one was at all. But the last option was the doors. At first you started out with the doors, and it was just a red door. And you had to open the door based off of if that door was red 2 doors prior. And I kind of struggled with that one a little bit, keeping track of which doors had turned red. But then they added to it. Then you had to keep track of them based off of letters and numbers, or letters and colors and stuff. And towards the end there, when you had I think 27 options where you had to go through and do it, I actually did my best there, but it was all based off of guessing. So I just hit Z every time. But I did great. So that one I really, really failed at. I wish it would have given you a chart or something at the end so you could have actually seen your progress as to how you did with the doors, but it didn't. It didn't tell you got this many right or this many wrong. So the question I'm going to pose for you guys this week is, what, if any, do you guys have for multitasking or distractions while you guys are doing your schoolwork? Right now, like I said, I can't have the distractions. I know the car drove by and my phone went off in this video. Work keeps trying to get a hold of me for the protest stuff that's going on. So that's weighing in the back of my mind. But what for you guys while you're doing the schoolwork is your distraction or your multitasking thing that you have this week? What's keeping you from focusing completely on the schoolwork at hand? And what do you guys do to get around it? What are your mechanisms for effective studying so that this multitasking or distractions does not interfere with what you are doing for school? I look forward to hearing your answers. Good luck, everyone, and I'll respond to you Monday.